When hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, whenever candlelights flicker where the air is deadly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, participating with terror, with their ghoulish delight. Happy October!
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while?
Do you want to know what it is?
There's no knowing where you might be swept off to.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Shepherds we shall be, for thee, my Lord, for thee.
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
There's a special rug in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch.
He peed on my rug!
He peed on the dude's rug.
Do your worst.
Final report. The commercial starship Nostromo.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Welcome to your feature presentation, the podcast where we explore stories through the latest movies and pop culture. Today we are talking about the top 5 best, worst horror movies and movies coming out this weekend. With me today, ever faithful, cloaked, singing, cackling, Andrew McKay. That's the cloak.
The cloak of which was spoken.
That
a
is
pleasure.
the cloak. Good to see you, buddy.
I don't think I've ever. Good to see you as well. It's a pleasure to be here every time. I don't think I've ever done a genuine Palpatine impression before, and so that was just a very natural position for me. I just was very, very happy with that. I hope that every person is able to analyze every single note that I hit and recognize the song that I was singing.
I think they will, and I think they're going to thrive. I think they're going to be like, you know what? Man, who knew Andrew owns a cloak, and B, he was so musical.
I think that people are more likely to know that I own a cloak over thinking that I could be musical, because I am not.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive right in because we've got a lot to talk about. So the movie's coming out this weekend. There's some fun ones. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, so first one up, let's do Piece by Piece.
Piece by
Pharrell
Piece.
Williams. Yeah, so Lego Bricks tell the life story of singer-songwriter and record producer Pharrell Williams, from his childhood in Virginia to his success in the music industry, but all Lego.
So even in the trailer for this, they say, why? You know, and then he's like, why not? And then it's like, no, you have to answer though, but why? Why is this in Lego?
No,
like,
please.
And maybe they'll say like, oh, I've always loved Legos, but like he didn't say that in the trailer at least.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. It looks fun. It looks like cool animation, but it just seems so random. I feel like it's a weird gimmick.
Yeah, like, I don't know. When I think of Pharrell Williams, I don't think of Lego. And so the connection should be made for me. Like, oh, because he's a super fan.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay, cool. I can get with that.
Yeah, it should be. You think it should be something obvious. Like, oh, of course they did it in that animation or because of that, you know?
Right. Like, classic Pharrell, always going back to Lego. Like, what? No.
Classic.
I would be like, oh, classic Pharrell, it's his biopic is like a musical. You're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'll probably watch it at some point, honestly.
Yeah, it looked interesting and it looked cool. The funny part too, I've heard, is that some of the, like Snoop Dogg didn't know it was going to be animated. Like that's just the rumor, and I'm like, I don't know how you would know that, or like you would assume,
That
right?
guy
'Cause it have to be
has-
mocap, but
I mean, maybe, or maybe it was just like he went in to record lines or something,
yeah,
and they thought, I don't know. But also, his level of cameos, like the amount of cameos he does for movies, recording, the Olympics, I'm sure he's just like, yeah, I'll do whatever.
yeah.
Well,
So go see that
all right,
movie.
So, yep, we've got that one this weekend. We also have Saturday Night. Some Kind of Love. What song is that?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
What?
I don't
It's
know.
like a Nora Jones song or something. It's like an old jazz song.
Oh, I mean, you know me. I'm a big Nora Jones fan, but
Okay, all right. Saturday.
did I
night-
have to look up who Pharrell was? Yes, I did.
You're kidding. Really?
Like pop music is not my strong suit. Like I was such a
You're telling me-
metalhead in high school. I was like, if it's
Yeah.
not metal, get it out of here. And so I'm very behind in most, like I'll say it, average people, normal people music. You know?
The normal person music.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Saturday Night is the other movie for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This is.
Oh wait, you got to do it in
11:30.
your SNL
Oh.
voice. You got to read it.
What?
You got to read it in an
Do I-
SNL voice.
Do I have an SNL voice?
Well, the SNL voice. You got to read it as
What
the-
is the SNL voice?
What's the description? Read it to me, and I'll read it back to you.
Okay. At 11:30.
At
PM
11:30 p.m. on a Saturday night.
Is this a good time for me to tell you I've never watched a full episode of SNL?
Whoa, that's crazy.
Is that weird? I've never seen SNL.
I mean, it's
Oh, that's the guy who's like, he's like, we're live in New York on Saturday night or whatever.
yeah. He does the intro for it, and it's very
Okay.
very, yeah, bombastic. Very like starring
Okay.
Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd. You know, it's very like whoa, very fitting for Halloween.
He sounds like the guy that does the America's Funniest Home Video intros.
Oh yeah, probably the same guy. Who knows?
Wow.
Fun fact, probably in there. Okay, you can read it for real.
Okay, all right. So at 11:30 p.m. on October 11th, 1975, a ferocious trope of young comedians and writers changed television forever. Find out what happened behind the scenes in the 90 minutes leading up to the first broadcast of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Maybe watch an episode.
Yeah, it looked interesting to me. I was a little hesitant about it because we haven't really heard a lot of stuff about this, and it's like, is this just gonna be a bunch of actors doing like impressions? Like I said, of like Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh my gosh, I get my Belushis mixed up. Is it Jim Belushi? John Belushi?
Steve Buscemi.
Steve. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, you're thinking Buscemi.
Yeah.
Belushi. The Belushi, you know.
Okay.
I can't remember. Look it up for me. Is it Jim or John? Who is SNL?
Okay.
Everyone's upset about this, except for you, because you've never seen SNL. So I don't know. It looked like a cool kind of story of how that got started, and it has been such a cool thing. But it's weird because I think SNL has not been good for a while, in my opinion. But it seems
John
kinda odd.
Belushi.
John Belushi, yes. So I don't know. To me, do I want to hear the story about that? For sure. But I was kind of hesitant because, like, is this just going to be a bunch of people doing bad impressions of very famous comedians, you know?
Yeah, famous comedians that, like, a lot of them are still alive.
Yeah.
Would you say? I mean, it's been 50 years.
Yeah. Well, I know, yeah. I mean, Chevy Chase is still alive. Dan Aykroyd is still alive.
Was Steve Martin kind of early SNL or no?
In there somewhere. But I don't think he was like
I'm totally speculating. I should
Yeah.
not speculate.
There's a lot of people. I'm not an SNL guy. You're asking the wrong person. There was a lot of people. He hosted a lot. I don't know if he was ever on it. So there's some people, famous I mean, like Adam Sandler was on like a lot of seasons. Sure. Chris Farley was on. But like there's different eras of SNL. Like cast members come and go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great comedians. A lot of people who have awesome film careers got started on SNL. But so it's definitely an interesting story, but I guess this movie just didn't really excite me personally.
Yeah,
but
that's all right. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know what does excite
What?
me? Some of the worst horror movies.
Let's get into it.
Was that a segue or what?
That was the best segue ever. So we're going to go through our list we have the top 5. Did you do 5? I did 5.
I did 5. Yep.
So our top 5, the best worst horror movies.
Yep. The best of the worst.
Yeah. These are the movies that to me we kind of defined it as they're not good, or we don't think they're good movies. Most people would probably think they're bad, but they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
We like to watch them.
Yeah.
And it could be we just like them, or they're so bad that they're good.
Yeah. So, what do you want to start us off, Heath? What's your number 5? What's your
Okay, I shall start us off because I have 6. I forgot, so I will.
Cool.
I'll start off with an honorable mention. I would be surprised. We'll see, because you say this a lot, but I'd be surprised if any of my movies are on your list at all.
I think this is an instance where we will have completely different movies.
Yeah, because it's so subjective of what you like and what you consider bad.
Right.
So we'll probably have all the same ones.
I know we say that.
Okay, so there is my number 6, though we won't count this officially, but this is my 6th best worst horror movie. It's called Cruel Jaws. Have you seen it?
Okay.
Just look up a trailer sometime.
No.
It's terrible. It is such a ripoff of Jaws, and it is so funny. It is this, like, they try to mimic Jaws, but the writing doesn't make sense. It's about it's basically the storyline of Jaws, but they cut it in. All the shark is like stolen from a foreign film, of another movie's Jaws, shark.
Like they're animatronic?
But no, it's like pictures of real sharks. There's no animatronics in it.
Oh.
But it's just from this other movie.
Okay.
And
like stock footage.
Yeah, the dad looks like Hulk Hogan, straight up, handlebar mustache, long hair. And then they literally rip off Jaws lines. The music is hysterical too, because they didn't rip off Jaws music; they ripped off Star Wars for some reason. So
what?
They do, this action shot of a boat coming up, and it goes da 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 da, and then that's it. They don't hit the main theme.
It's supposed to be
a
heroic entry, but it's the shark coming to kill them.
It's more insanity ensues, but I want to keep us moving here. But it is just a ridiculous movie. So if you want to watch a movie that's I just want to laugh at a movie with some friends, Cruel Jaws. It's beautiful.
Wow.
All right.
That's insane.
Officially starting the list. Andrew, what is your number 5?
Number 5 is 5 movies, because I couldn't pick, and I don't care to pick, honestly.
Your number 5?
Final Destination.
Oh, all of them. All the 5.
All of the Final Destination.
Okay.
Yeah. So my number 5 includes 5 movies, because I think there are definitely some better Final Destination movies and some really bad ones of the 5. But I just lumped them all in because it's always, no matter which one you're watching, it is on the nose. It is, I think it's hilarious. The deaths, the meandering ways that people accidentally kill themselves, but I guess it's technically death kills them in insane, stupid ways. And I just think they're hilarious. You just watch them with a bunch of friends and you just laugh over how ridiculous it is that someone can go in for LASIK eye surgery and end up falling 5 stories out a window.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love those. I love those movies as well. It is such a ridiculous. That's a great movie you're right, to watch with friends, a group of people, because I think sometimes there's movies no, shh, be quiet, or they're if you're talking you miss stuff or you miss plot, or it's that is such a easy entry movie. You didn't miss anything. Just have fun, talk. Everyone can talk through the whole time, and then everyone's gonna be with all those kills going on. Everyone's gonna be "Whoa!" You definitely get sucked in through there.
Yes.
So
big crowd shock, but no jump scare. Well, there's one that bus. I think it's the second one or the third one. The bus hits the girlfriend in the road, and it is genuinely very startling. And they try and mimic that that kind of jump scare for the rest of the movies. They don't quite nail it, but aside from that, they're all pretty much they build the tension and then it happens. So yeah, so best of the worst, number 5 for me.
it's cool too because they kind of play around with we know something is going to kill them with where they're at, but you don't know exactly what it is. So it's
that one,
you're gonna die.
Yeah, so I think of Final Destination 5 in the gymnasium. That's the wiring is frayed, the roof is leaky. There are like screws that have fallen onto the gymnastics equipment, and you're like, uh-oh, what's it like? She's gonna die. What is it gonna be that does her in? And it's like, in that instance, it was like every single component added up to her death. But yeah, good bad stuff.
Great choice. All right, my number 5 is They Live. Are you familiar?
Okay. I've not heard of
So
this.
it's a John Carpenter movie, and starring Rowdy Piper himself. Keith David's in it, and it's this story about this meandering, like blue collar worker gets started with a construction crew, and I don't even remember, but somehow he gets hold of government issue sunglasses that he can see if someone's an alien or not. So then he realizes that there's like some people are straight up aliens disguised as humans, and he sees like all the subliminal messages like of signs like that are saying like this is what it's advertising, but this is what it actually is saying. So it's
What?
really an interesting concept, and that's why it's fun, but it's so poorly acted and I think executed that it makes it so ridiculous and over the top.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much spoilers away, but a main character dies off screen and we never see it. Just like, oh yeah, they're gone. It's like, what? Oh, okay, they're gone. This is the movie that you probably heard the line, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum." That's from this movie. Yeah,
Really?
But that's the best part is he just figures out that they're aliens, and then he's like, "I'm gonna start killing all these aliens." So he just goes on this crusade to kill all these aliens, but everyone can't tell except for him. So it looks like this insane guy is just
killing people.
Dude,
Does he ask them like, "Hey, aliens, why are you here?" Or he's just immediately in kill
it's
mode?
basically in kill mode. I think there's some type of confrontation.
Whoa.
But the best part is, for me, it's look up sometime They Live fist fight. And it's him and Keith David. Keith David is kind of like a foreman type. He's like, "You're crazy. You lost your mind because you put on those sunglasses. We don't know why, but here's money. Here's your paycheck. You're glad you got that. Now get out of here." And he goes, "Put on these sunglasses." And he goes, "No, get out of here." He's like, "Put them on." So basically he tries to convince Keith David's character to put on these sunglasses to see the aliens, but he does not tell him that. He just is a crazy man trying to put these sunglasses on him. So they have a fist fight about it. And it's like this whole
Dude, I hate
prolonged fight. It's a ridiculous fist fight. Like, "I told you no." And like the whole, like several times they like do like, "All right, are you done?" "No." And just like pop back up. And it's like, get like classic, like, "Here, take my hand. Let me pull you up here." And then punch him back down because it's like,
Oh
like,
my god!
I was like, all he has to do is say, "I know this sounds crazy, but if you put on these sunglasses, you'll see aliens."
"You're right."
Yeah.
And if you don't see aliens, then conversation
But he's
over.
like, "No, just put them on. Put on these sunglasses." It's so good. It's so fun. All right. What is your number 5? Or no, your number 4.
Yeah, my number 4 is The Boy.
No.
You heard of this?
Tell me the tale.
Oh, great. We're on a good roll here. Wow. So The Boy stars Lauren Cohen from The Walking Dead. Lauren Cohen from The Walking Dead.
No.
Do you know her?
Which one is she?
Maggie.
Oh, yeah.
She's the Southern Belle. She's actually British in real life. So she went from Walking Dead, she has a Southern accent. And then in The Boy, she has just like a Midwest standard, what I think is standard
Real
American
speak.
accent. But she talks like a real person.
Thank God.
Let's be honest. Jeez. Unbearable. Anyway, so The Boy is she's kind of running away from like some sort of trauma or bad relationship or something. So she takes a nanny gig that's like way upstate. She gets there and meets the family, like super rich family in this manor, classic, like haunted mansion looking thing. and the boy that she's the nanny of is a porcelain doll.
Hmm.
And they're paying her salary, like full-time work, to take care of this porcelain doll that's dressed up like a nice little British boy 40 hours a week while they're all at, like, mom and dad are at work, and she like tucks him in and reads him stories. And so at first she's like, dude, this job is cake, absolutely. And then the boy starts like moving around.
Ooh.
And like she'll set him down in a chair and just do her own thing all day, obviously, right? And she'll like come back in the room and his head is like turned towards where she walked in. So like that kind of stuff. What makes it the worst is I think the idea, because I hate doll movies. I hate Chucky. I hate this movie. But the ending made it the best of the worst, if that makes sense. I don't want to spoil the end, but it made like 90% of the movie, which I just could not stand, made that worth it. The last like 10%, but I would still qualify it as some of the best of the worst, in my opinion.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Yep. It's actually like it's a Shyamalan level twist. Like I don't remember who Shyamalan. I don't remember who directed it. But you do not see that coming, and I think about it all the time. Like this is a movie that I think about often when I watch horror movies.
Like, wait a minute, is this a The Boy style twist?
Right? Yeah. Like, are you pulling
also?
a boy?
What's this with you being afraid of dolls? Were you attacked by a doll as a child?
You know, that is really interesting because I'm not really afraid of like the concept of Chucky or something. I just hate it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid.
Tell us how you really feel. You don't have to hold back.
I think it's a stupid. I think it's a stupid idiot kind of movie to make.
And if you like it, you're dumb.
No, and if you like it, you're the worst, actually, and you don't know anything. Yeah, I just don't like the trope. I think for most horror movies, you have to like agree to a trope going in. You're like, okay, clown movie, okay, I'm with you. I'm gonna sign up for the clown tropes of like, for some reason people don't run away from a clown when they see him at nighttime. I agree. Let's see what happens, right? And I just don't like the doll tropes. There was never like there's no trauma. I was a big fan of stuffed animals as a child. And none of them tried to kill me or suffocate me or anything, or stab me with a butcher's knife. So I have a good track record with inanimate objects, such as dolls, but don't like them in movies.
I mean,
for some reason.
Your parents didn't dress up as like dolls when they like punish you or anything. Yeah, no, sorry, me neither. No, me either. No. Yeah, that's a ridiculous thing to say. You're right. That was a joke. Good. I'm glad you laughed. That was a joke.
So, yeah. So do you think like when, you know how like when parents dress up and they put like the doll mask on to punish you for doing something as a child, do you think that,
Did that
has
contribute?
an effect on that? Oh, that didn't.
No.
Didn't happen?
No.
Yeah, it didn't happen to me either.
Well, we're joking around. We're joking.
So like when all of our parents, when all of our parents went to the porcelain doll mask closet, do you think that affected you? Because it didn't affect me.
Why would you even ask that? It's such a silly way.
Yeah, so weird. Anyway, that's my number 4.
My
What's your
number 4 is Troll 2.
Have
you seen it?
Nice. So I've not seen it, but I was trying to round out my list, and this one popped up a lot on some like, you have to watch this good, bad horror movie. So I did not get around to watching it, and I'm excited to do it.
So I actually, same. I watched it just for this episode. Doing the homework. It's funny. It is really ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie. It's famous for a reason. It is weirdly acted. Like, everyone acts like they don't know. It's like they know what they were doing, but everyone, like, it's such a bad acting, but how am I trying to say this? Is like they deliver it like it's a monologue. Andrew, don't you know this is how
weird.
I have to talk to you about this movie? You know what I mean?
Like first names all the time.
Like, yeah, it's just weird. It's just bad acting, but it is so intense and so much overacting and intensity, and it's hilarious. It looks terrible. The premise of this movie, of Troll 2, I have not seen Troll 1, but basically it's Princess Bride style, where there's a grandpa telling this little kid about a story, and the story is like they catch this guy, and the little kid's like, they don't eat him, do they? And the grandpa's like, yes, they eat this guy. So this is like I thought this was like a grandpa telling a nice story. It's like, no, they ate him. So the premise of Troll 2 is that these trolls live in the woods, and they make humans drink this like green liquid that turns them into plant people, because they're like vegetarians, but then they eat the plant people. So,
that's so good.
And then also after the grandpa tells the story, the mom comes in and like, why are you talking to your grandpa? He's been dead for a year. And so the grandpa is like this spiritual like guide through the movie.
He's the Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And then just like the whole movie is just ridiculous. It's this family. They have a vacation swap. So they with another like family have been like, hey, you can stay at our house for a while and we'll stay at your house. Just a fun summer thing to do, right? And so they go to this town, and everyone in it is a troll disguised as a human. And then the whole time they're trying to like get them to eat this green food or green beverage to turn them into plant people to eat them.
Man.
And of course, this is from Stonehenge. That's where all this originated. So, it's ridiculous.
Solves that mystery.
Yeah, this like the kid at one point, like when he realizes all of it's green food and his family's going to eat it, he stands on the table and just pees on all the food, so they won't eat it. And they're like, "That was very bad."
He can't just say, "Hey, this food's poison."
Yeah, no, that'd be too easy.
Yeah.
And this also has the super famous line of like cringy movies, like, "They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh no!" So,
like, yeah, I gathered that. As someone who's watching this movie, I could tell.
I could tell it's
tell.
bad, but it's fun. It really is. I was like, this might be higher on my list if I had seen it more, or this had been like something I grew up on. But just watching it once, I'm like, this is already on my top 5 best worst horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your next one?
Wow, that's a great one. I'm gonna have to watch that one regardless. So
Actually, we'll take a break right now. Let's just watch it.
Oh, okay. Tune in next week. We're done. My third is The House of Wax.
Oh yes, I have seen it. Not on my list.
You've seen it? Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. So stars Paris Hilton and Chad Michael Murray from Freaky Friday. He's like the boyfriend that goes from, is it Lindsay Lohan?
Yes.
To Jamie Lee Curtis. And he's like, I'm into you now, which is weird to begin with.
Problematic.
Yeah, but super 2005. Like the cast is like 2005 elite heartthrobs. The premise is that a van full of, this is my own summary, a van full of unreasonably attractive for 2005 college students get stranded in front of an old wax museum or near an old wax museum. So they have to go and take shelter or explore, I suppose, this wax museum. And the synopsis says, and fight to not become the next exhibit. And I love the premise of this movie.
Yeah.
Like the idea that, I don't think I'm giving anything away, but the idea that someone is like a serial killer and makes wax figures out of his victims is very interesting.
That's freaky.
And borderline cool. Yeah, definitely freaky, borderline cool. However, the execution,
Yeah.
not great.
Is this a
Which is hard.
Is this a Rob Zombie?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because
This is Sarah Wame Colette Sarah.
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I've never heard of that director.
I
Colette
thought this was a
Sarah.
zombie movie for some reason. Maybe he just said something about it.
Oh, this person, he directed The Shallows, or executive producer. Sorry.
Oh, interesting.
Wow. What else has he directed? Jungle Cruise. The direct pipeline from The House of Wax to Jungle Cruise with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's intense.
It's 1-2 step.
He does a lot of stuff with The Rock, actually. Wow, interesting. So there you have it. That's my number 3. The scene of Paris Hilton stepping on, like, trying to get out of the basement and stepping on, like, grated steps, like metal grates, and the dude underneath stabbing like a nail up through her foot is forever cemented in my brain.
Gosh,
I think about that every time I walk upstairs.
is just any stairs, not even graded steps. Just
Any
like-
stairs. Yeah, I'm like Paris Hilton.
That's crazy. I think, they talk about that with Jaws, that like it gives people fear of water. And like any horror movie that makes you double think a normal, like
Like a normal occurrence or something.
just something average, like walking up a graded step or something. It's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a win for the House of Wax.
All right, my number 3, Jason X.
Dude, cool.
So
Nice.
it's one of the Friday the 13th. I think this is 10.
Yep, that's why it's
Yeah.
X.
So this is Jason Goes to Space. All
Yeah.
these horror.
Jason takes Manhattan, and then Jason goes to hell, and then Jason goes to space.
It's so funny, like how some of these longer, these longer horror series, they always wind up in different places. Like Leprechaun in space, Jason Goes to Space. It's interesting. So this movie was super weird because I think they were trying something different. It was super low budget though, so it was all shot in Canada. So you have all these Canadian actors that like they're not bad, but I mean some of them are. But they didn't get rid of any of their Canadian speak, so it was just very clearly shot and acted in like Vancouver. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It kind of wants to be Alien for a little bit, then it kind of wants to be it just like kind of wants to be Terminator. Yeah, with the robot, and it's just the music is, you could tell it's just one guy with like a little synthesizer there's some,
He's just watching the movie. He's like, what do I feel like?
yeah, really bad CG, like the ending scene when he flies to like the
new planet.
It's just like, oh man, it's bad. So but it's crazy and it's fun. And that's definitely one too that like I never skip. Like I'll never skip it when I'm watching through all the Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
But
Can't.
so since you've seen this one, do you have anything to say about that one?
I'll save some of my thoughts for a future episode. Spoilers, a little tease. But I think it's so funny that it's funny and good that every single movie they hold on to the tropes of Jason, and they're like, if he sees somebody having sex, doing drugs, or even a little bit like promiscuously dressed, he will stop everything he's doing to kill them. And that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, he crash lands on the planet. First people he meets are like promiscuous weed smoking girls, and he's like, time to dish out some knuckle sandwiches. Like, man,
It's funny because I've also heard the argument that the original movies weren't necessarily like that. Like, all the kills. I think there's some room for like an argument to be made with Friday the 13th that it's not killing them for being bad. It's just they're all teenagers doing that, you know? But
Right. And the moment that you get a teenager or two away from the group and in a vulnerable state is when they're doing
Right.
these things. Yeah, I would say that the first few movies, there's a case for that, but there's enough of a pattern where eventually they were just like, Jason hates teenagers having fun.
And
Hates
that's what I was gonna say too, is they definitely went hard the opposite. They're like, nope, this is what he's doing, and we're gonna like milk it. Like in the virtual reality, they like distract Jason with like weed smoking and that kind of stuff. They're like, oh, we gotta get him away. Here, look, these people are making out and smoking weed. Like, better get him.
Yeah.
Like they're using it as a distraction. He's like, stops. Like, okay, I'm gonna kill him. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, it's so
All right, what is your number 2?
This is such a fun list. Okay. You might hate my guts, and if you don't hate my guts, the internet is going to
I'm
come
trying to think. Best, worst. I think you're not going to say Alien. I'm trying to think of a movie that would actually piss me off if you said it. There's one. I think there's only one thing that pops in my brain that I'd be genuinely angry with.
Okay, what is it?
No, you say it.
No, you have to
All
share.
right, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down. Hold on.
My number 2. I know. Oh, I'm prolonging. My number 2 is not. Honestly, it's not what he thinks it is, but I'm interested. My number 2 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Thing.
The Thing. What? That's really the one. The one that you.
I thought you were going to say you
mad
hated
about?
that movie, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Why would you think I'd be mad about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Because I had an inkling. I was like, you might be mad about this, but if not you, then the internet for sure.
Oh, because you're saying this movie is
such
bad.
a classic. I'm saying that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a bad movie. Yeah. So you see, do you feel that stirring in your heart?
There's something I have to tell you.
I
agree.
Listen, it sucks.
I agree.
Thank you. It's bad. I don't know what else to say. Like the hype around this movie as like, oh man, it's the OG slasher. It's like the best of the best horror movies. Nobody's done it better than TCM. Like, you can't beat that. And I watched it, and every single moment, I was like, this sucks. There is like, it just is. It's the best of the worst because not because I enjoyed it, but because it is literally the most like well-renowned movie that I hate.
Wow.
If someone was like, "What's your hot take about a movie?" I would say that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a 1 out of 10.
Dang.
I know.
Wow.
So that's why it's best of the worst. Because
Wow.
everyone. It seems like I'm glad that we're in similar company because it seems like everyone else is just so obsessed with it, and I don't get it. Yeah. What do you have a thought?
Yeah, I
about
do. That's funny because I think most people, I would put it on my list of best worst horror movies. Like, it's not a good movie. It's bad, but it's still like an iconic movie. But yeah, I would agree. I don't really like it that much. I think it's too gross for me. I think it's too like uncomfortable, and I think not even intentionally. Like, I think we've talked about this before, but there's a scene when they're like threatening this girl and they're like hitting like a hammer by her head. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's a real hammer. And they're not hitting the actress, but they're like threatening to hit her. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, this is too close. Like, I feel like that was such a indie fly by the seat of your pants style movie that I'm like, they could have killed that girl in that scene on film. Like, I was just like, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the reason that it's a 1 out of 10 and not a 0 out of 10 No, the one good thing that TCM did was, hey, we have a low budget. We can't really afford to do a bunch of gory stuff like special effects. So we're going to draw out all of these like psychologically terrifying situations. So that dinner table scene is like, it is a perfect depiction
of my family's
example
Thanksgiving.
of me every time I go home and my parents put on the porcelain doll masks and they say, "You wanna what does Pennywise say? You wanna float?
You'll float too. You'll float too.
You'll float too." No, so that dinner scene is a perfect example of prolonged dread. I, as the viewer, have never felt more dread and more uncomfortable. Like the tight, like close to face camera shots, the shots. I don't
say
know. Yeah, the lighting, just everything was so uncomfortable. She never stopped screaming. And there's a point where it's like, okay, I would probably quiet down now. And then she revamps, like she gets back into it and she's just screaming the whole time. And you're genuinely so uncomfortable, but it's not in an interesting way. It's in like we don't have enough money to write a script for you, so just don't stop screaming. We're going to film for 4 days to get this like last 40 minutes of this movie, and you just have to scream the whole time.
I think that's another thing.
And then like the grandpa who is like dead but sucking her finger, like what is going
It's another
on?
What's that Jedi Master from The Acolyte? The guy who's Tommen from Game of Thrones. It's
yeah,
Torben, and he's like another one of those where it's like it's clearly a young actor, but that he's made to look old for some reason.
Yeah.
But that's the first time we see him, so why didn't they just use an old guy? But yeah, it's like, they roll him in. It's like, oh, clearly this guy's dead, but he's like, oh, he's not dead for some reason. And I would say you could attribute that movie to that's why it's so good, because it wanted you to feel dread. But I do kind of feel like there's this vibe of like, I feel like they kind of just like low-key tortured this girl by like, we're going to shoot this for 4 days straight, and you're actually going to hate this. Mm-hmm. And that's how we make you act well.
It feels unsettling, and you feel unnerved because you genuinely think that she is like being mistreated. And I don't like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that genuinely does not say well with me. So it wasn't a fun watch, and I actually
think the remake is a lot better too, with Jessica Biel.
Oh, I'll have to watch Jessica Biel, really? I'll have to watch the remake.
All right.
Speaking of 2005.
Okay, so my number 2 is Frozen. It's Frozen.
I'm sorry?
The movie Frozen. That is my best, worst horror movie.
Horror movie.
No,
not musical.
So it's not Disney Frozen. There's a movie called Frozen.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It's like a 2000, mid 2000, 2005, somewhere in there. So the story is, which it just cracks me up. I love telling that to people. Like, what's your favorite horror movie? It's like Frozen. So this movie is ridiculous plot, but it basically centers around these 3 characters who are skiing at a ski resort. I don't know why it took me so long to remember ski resort.
They're
skiing at
a mountain.
The
the sound rings a bell. I just can't think of the words. And then crash.
Yeah. Oh no, that's golf. So that's basically they're going skiing, and it's like their last run of the day, and so they talk to this guy like, hey, can we do one more run? Like, no, sorry, we're closed down for a holiday because ski resorts close for
Christmas.
holidays. Okay, just let that sink in.
They don't.
They don't. So like you guys can go up and I think they like pay them or something like, hey, here's like $50. Can we just go one more time? You know, it's like,
Oh, wow.
or something. I don't know. It's $50. It seems ridiculous.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then they're like, okay, let's go up. And so they go up. So they ride up the chairlift and the guy's like kind of doing it on the down low, but then they switch. The guy's like, here, I'll finish up. Everyone's gone or something. They switch the guy that's running the chairlift for the last one.
Okay.
But he thinks no one's there.
Yeah.
So this is such an elaborate chairlift that you can't see that someone's on it. So they stop it
No.
midway, and they are trapped, suspended above like the snow, and turn off all the lights, and they're just stuck on this chairlift. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. And I'm just gonna run through what happens because
Please.
they try everything. It's like a Final Destination that like everything they try is somehow the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So they're like your thoughts are like, can I jump down or can I climb to the pole? They try to climb to the pole and it shreds their hands. The cable is for some reason so
Don't they have gloves?
like, yeah, they do, and it cuts through the gloves.
Oh,
and so
man.
they're like, I can't do this. So this one guy, like his hands are useless, and they're like, okay, there's deep snow down there. There's deep snow down there. I'm just gonna try to jump. I just have to do it. So he jumps off the chairlift, breaks both of his legs,
No.
and then gets eaten by wolves.
No. You're kidding.
No. Oh man.
Oh my
And it just like I'm just watching this. This was early Netflix streaming days for me. Like we had just gotten Netflix. I'm like, what random movies can I find? And I found this
Wow.
gem. Oh man. And I don't want to get further, but that is just like that's all you need to know about Frozen. It is. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, Sean Ashmore.
Yeah.
Is he the guy who gets eaten by wolves?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, he was Bobby Drake in X-Men.
Oh yeah, I can't remember who got eaten by wolves, but we'll save that.
Man.
That's but you should totally watch
That's
that movie. too.
crazy.
So totally. All right, Andrew, I am ready. Let's hear your number
My
one.
number one is the
Number
ice.
one.
Don't interrupt me, Heath. Jeez. Is Frozen. I'm just kidding. Is the Ice Cream Man.
Whoa, I've never even heard of it.
Really? This is potentially the worst movie in general that I've ever seen.
Whoa.
The premise is an ice cream man is a serial killer, and he just pulls like kids, adults, whoever, pulls them into his truck, drives away, kills them, and then he chops them up and puts them in his ice cream and then serves people ice cream to other people.
Why?
That's a good question. There's no reason. So
When was this made? The Ice Cream
1995.
Man?
Yeah, The Ice Cream Man, 1995. It has like a 4 out of 10 on IMDb. The movie begins with like a 1950s or 60s ice cream man like walking down the road, and it's like black and white, and there's kids like white picket fence, kids riding bikes and playing baseball, whatever. And this like old style car just rolls in. It might be even later, like the 20s or something. This old style car rolls in, and there are gangsters, like mob gangsters from New York, in full suits and fedoras with Tommy guns, and they roll by and they do a drive-by shooting and kill this ice cream man, and then they leave. That's how the movie begins. So this ice cream man is a victim of mob violence, and he's just on the ground, dead. And this little boy walks up, Gregory, and he just sits next to the dead body, and he grabs an ice cream cone from the dead guy, and he starts eating it. and he just sits there. And his mom comes up, ignores the dead body, like not fully, but like she doesn't say like, "Oh, is this guy okay?" She goes up to her son and she says, "Gregory, oh no, what are we gonna do with you, Gregory? You're sitting next to a dead body." And he goes, "Who's gonna deliver the ice cream, Mama?" And then it goes, "Where the ice cream man?" And you're like, okay. So that's his origin story. He saw an ice cream man
Gang violence.
Yeah.
Classic 20s Tommy gun violence.
Hey, we're coming for you. See, you pay your debts to the shark. And he decides, you know what I'm going to do is murder people all the time and put them inside of ice cream and make other people eat people. But also, there's like, it's a pretty good hobby. There's this scene where he straight up tells a cop, like, there's people in here. Because the cop's like, "Oh, that's so yummy. What's your secret? What's your recipe?" And he's like, I forget what he says exactly, but it's basically like dismembered body parts. And the cop is eating an eyeball, and he goes, "You're funny," and then just walks away. Like, oh, jeez.
Wow.
Terribly acted, terribly written. Just an absolute laugh fest. Hilarious movie.
That's amazing.
But it doesn't want to be. Like, you can tell it's not supposed to be funny, which is what makes it funny.
I don't like the movies, like the bad horror movies that they're trying to be bad. Like,
yeah.
Especially like the Sharknado series, like, they're like trying to be bad. I'm like, no. You need to make
try your best.
Heart.
And if it's bad, if you're lucky enough to be bad,
we'll laugh forever.
Yes, exactly.
Still entertainment. What I love too is I love people who made a bad movie and they embrace it afterwards. You know, they're like,
"Oh yeah,
people love this movie. I was trying to make a good movie. It makes people laugh though." And so like, hey, that's cool too.
So that's cool.
I kind of appreciate that. All right. I will tell you my number one by singing you a little ditty.
Oh.
8 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 8 more days to Halloween. Silver Shamrock. Silver Shamrock. I couldn't remember the last of it.
What?
Halloween 3.
Oh, really?
Season of the Witch. Have you seen it?
No.
All right. So, you know how everyone loved Halloween?
Yeah.
You know how everyone liked Halloween 2?
Yes.
Halloween 3, throw everything away. Don't do anything that those first 2 movies did.
This is
Start
breaking
brand
new
new.
ground here.
Yep. We're going to have Stonehenge.
Oh,
We're gonna have a warlock puts a curse on Halloween masks, give them to all the little kids, and then blow up all the little kids' heads and make bugs and worms go everywhere.
What?
That's the plot for Halloween 3.
Is Michael Myers in this movie?
No. Get rid of him.
Oh,
Get rid of him.
You know, the Michael Myers thing wasn't working out. We should totally ditch him.
I just love it because I think the second one wasn't as well received. But
Sure.
I can't imagine having like Halloween and being like, just get rid of him. That Michael Myers character, one of the most iconic slasher movie characters.
They're like,
They don't know that. It's like hindsight, but
yeah, but they know how insanely popular he has become.
yeah.
So you go like, Halloween established this now well-known character who's, you can tell, is going to become an icon for generations. What if we did this thing without him?
Yeah, exactly. It's I'm going to look it up real quick because I can't remember who the actor his name is.
I feel like it's kind of like you restart a band after the lead singer is gone. And you're like, no, we're still the same band. Like, no, you don't sound the same. The songs are different. Like, I don't know.
Tom Adkins is the main guy, and he is like the leading man. But then you're like, how is he a leading man? He's like an older, overweight alcoholic, and like that's your hero in this movie. Also, especially because it's so funny, some of these movies go to like male leads when they were made famous by having like a main female lead.
Yeah, Scream Queen.
Yeah, like you already had a very interesting, iconic lead. Why would you go from Jamie Lee Curtis to like a middle-aged
Tom?
Dude? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know what the people are itching for? An alcoholic 45-year-old.
Yeah, and they you don't like him in this movie. They're basically like, yep, he's an alcoholic, he's a doctor, but he's like, how is he even a doctor? Like malpractice. He's cheating.
Wow.
I think he's cheating on his wife, and then he's like wants to like leave his kids, and then they basically follow this trail of so the Silver Shamrock song is that da 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 da. So they keep counting down the days to Halloween. So like that's the 8 more days to Halloween, and and their kids are obsessed. So like all these kids are watching this movie, and it's actually hypnotizing them, saying like, we need these masks. And so all like his kids are watching it. So he's trying to like investigate like where are these masks coming from? And of course, Stonehenge, right? And it gets more and more ridiculous. Like somehow they go to this, like they discover that like all this is going on. There's robots in it, like animatronic humans. The main girl, spoiler alert, you find out she's a robot, and
No
you didn't
way.
know, and like it is hilarious. It is such a fun movie, especially when you're like, I'm gonna watch through all the Halloween movies, and you get to 3 and you're just like, what?
And then 4 comes back, obviously, with Michael Myers, right?
Yeah. I think 3 is the only, I mean, it's the only one that doesn't have Michael Myers on it. Like, those longer series, they all try different stuff. Like, one of the Jason movies, they like do a switch, and it's like not actually Jason. It's just a guy pretending to be Jason. Like, they try other stuff. But this one, it's just so interesting that they're like, for the third one, we're going to still call it Halloween 3, but we're going to like not have it be about Michael Myers. And I think their thought was interesting. That's like, hey, let's have like Halloween is a series, and it's a
Different type of horror things.
yeah. We have Halloween movie every year, and this one's about Michael Myers, and this one's about the season of the witch, but just like it's so bad, it's so cringy. It's hilarious. Yeah. So gotta go check out Season of the Witch, man.
Oh, wow. All right. I got some new ones from my list now. Thank you.
Yeah,
Heath.
same. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today. So that is our best, worst horror. And I'm really excited for next week because we're doing our top 5 comedy horrors. That'll be
Yeah.
fun. And I have some special news that I want to tell you on the pod directly.
Oh, okay.
We now have full show video on Spotify.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude.
So if you're a YouTuber or you're a Spotify, you can watch or just listen to our video, our full show video. Apple Podcast, Amazon still has audio, but you can watch video on Spotify now as well. So
That's so exciting.
it's fun. It's fun.
I love that.
All right, Andrew, take us home.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for listening.
When you
Thank
looked
you
at
for
me, I heard a
watching.
"Blah-da."
Thank you for watching on Spotify and on YouTube.
That's right. That's right.
You can get us other places as well. Anywhere you get podcasts, you can get us. You can follow us on Instagram. And as a matter of fact, please do. Subscribe on YouTube and interact with some of the posts. Sometimes we ask some questions and we want some feedback. We want some movie recs. So if you have a best, worst horror movie that we did not mention, maybe let us know. Drop it in the DMs or comment on a video. That'd be fun. Anyway, go see a movie, maybe a best, worst movie.
Best, worst movie. Go see it.
Best, worst movie.
I couldn't even. Best,
Best, worst. You gotta say the best worst part.
Wait a minute. Are you one of those people that's a young guy, but you're dressed like an old guy? Brash, 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 brash.
Are you? Did you just lose all your teeth?
Brash, 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 brash.